Hello and welcome to another Cockerel cast. I'm former captain and current Edinburgh Northern member, Jason Thompson. Just myself hosting this evening. So buckle up and settle in for episode 8 as we bring you two Northerners who blazed the same trail from Highfield RFC in Cork to Edinburgh, a decade apart from each other. First up, we've got a chap who spent a couple of seasons in the Scottish capital a while back, fondly known as Bumblebee Man from our Simpsons team third Madrid. He once kindly gave my brother and I a warm welcome, a great night out and a bed to rest in during a brief stop in Cork. He fell for a lass from Scandinavia and now resides in Stockholm. He is, of course, Damien Mullins. How are you, Damo?
Very good. Thanks for welcoming me. Great to be chatting to a couple of ex-teammates and, of course, that famous night in Cork. That was a good crack down in Tom Barry's. Myself, my current, we started, Jesus, me, you, brother, Sarah. Did we meet a couple of friends of mine?
A few of them, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good old night. Hannon wasn't there. Hannon was gone at that stage.
Was my father there?
No, your father wasn't there. We'll get your father. Bit of perspective now first. But good night.
And of course, our other guest from the deep south of Ireland is a man who is never far from a fresh pint of Guinness. Admittedly, he has also had a firmish grip on the Northern number 10 jersey during his time playing with my absent co-host. Self-proclaimed
10.
It's changed.
Self-proclaimed the hardest worker here at Northern. He is, of course, Simon Hannon. How are you, Simon?
Not too bad. Great introduction. Love
it. So, firstly, what are we drinking this evening?
I'm drinking a Czech lager called Holba from we have a local bar in Stockholm called Twang. It's our local area in Södermalm. So if you ever visit Stockholm, make sure you go to Twang in Södermalm. Great place.
Excellent.
Great
recommendation.
Yeah.
Simon?
I'm on the usual stuff anyway, out of the can though, unfortunately. We're not as lucky as the Swedes.
Yeah.
Surprise. And trying to maintain some Scottish element, I've gone for a stout, but from the Loch Ness Brewery, a Dark Ness. So on to proceedings. We usually ask for your lockdown situations, but as clearly evident, Damien doesn't seem to be in one. How are you managing that?
Pretty good. So I'm over in Stockholm. My colleague now to the left of me is saying he played against some team in Berwick and he's mad to talk about them, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
So it was weird here, man. Obviously, they were what's happening back in Britain and Ireland. Very opposite here. So they went for a different approach. I think initially the same approach as Britain, but they kind of got it right here. So there's the key workers have been working. Pubs and restaurants have been open to my help, I suppose. I'm working in a school over here. How anybody will let me educate anybody is down to your own opinion, but I'm doing pretty well bluffing things here. So it's going well. Things are a lot quieter, obviously. A lot different to what it had been. I wouldn't say it's normal, but by nature, Sweden's a bit more passive. So they're the most natural people to try this. So it's going pretty well. Actually, I probably had COVID. I'll be honest. Quite early, quite early in it. They weren't testing. Myself and 6 colleagues got symptoms, and it felt like we were on our deathbed. So it was the most extreme flu or cold I've ever had in my life. Knocked out for 10 days with all the symptoms, but like a tough front row, I just got by, didn't give out about it, and just got on.
Dragged yourself back out to the pub, it looks like,
yeah.
Yeah. Simon,
so it's going pretty.
What about yourself, Simon?
Not too bad, to be honest. I suppose I was fairly set up for it prior. In my job, I would have been probably traveling 2 days a week and working from home the other 3 days. So they're kind of easy enough to adapt, just less time on the road, which is handy enough. My missus is working in the NHS up in Fife, so she's having quite a busy time. So I think all my work doing all this self-isolation is to, there's no benefit of it really, because you can just come home and infect me. But infect it'll be grand.
Exactly.
Come to Sweden, boys. It's fine.
We might have to. So
Yeah.
we'll take it right back then, lads. A quick touch on your backstory. Where are you from? How did you end up where you are? And what you do for work?
Well, will I start, Simon, or?
Yeah, you crack on. We'll let you lead.
Cheers, man. So I guess I played rugby in Highfield for a long time, and I think did I coach you, Hannon? I know we played.
Yeah,
quite young.
you were my 20s coach, Mullins, when you bluffed that one in with Brian Roach. My 20s forwards coach.
That's right. Well, you weren't a forward, even though you thought you were. But yeah. So myself, well, we knew each other before that. So
yeah.
I grew up playing rugby, but before that 20 season, I played rugby in Highfield for a long time. My gap year after university, I went to Edinburgh on a good, not quite a Highfield guy, but a guy called Cathal Dewan via Ballincollig, who played in Highfield with me. He got me involved with Edinburgh Northern. So literally, I moved over in 2007. The World Cup was on, and I met him moving over. He's like, Mullins, you got to come down to this club. It's the greatest crack, man. It's not bad rugby, good crack. You'll train hard. They'll make you play hard, but they'll make you fucking party hard. And he roped me in. And kind of actually quite famously, my first game was against the Howreds Dalkeith. Those fucking animals from outside the city. And I was out on the Friday. Ireland were playing France in the Rugby World Cup 2007. Myself and a fella called Robert Bogue, who Hannon would know pretty well from Highfield. We were out in the piss and we recruited 2 or 3 Kiwis to play. And the following day, we turned up in Highfield in Northern for my first match. And I started with 2 Kiwis playing 10 in centre. They were incredible. Bogey came on and played front row, and I think we pumped 60 points in the Dalkeith boys. So I was off to a winner straight away. I don't think I ever reached those highs again, but yeah, I was like that was the most popular start you could imagine. It was incredible.
Well done, Simon. Then talk us through your backstory there.
Believe it or not, it's not through Mullins. I didn't know that you played for them prior.
I told you.
Which it's just such a small world. No, I didn't. I actually didn't. I didn't take it on board. I don't know. Was it on a drunken night or whatever that you told me? But so Lisa was working down in Newcastle with one of our other front rows, his old flame, and she got in touch and said when I moved over. So I suppose I was living in London prior. And then we moved up to Edinburgh, and I had no club. I wasn't even sure if I was going to play ball, to be honest. But she got in touch and said, "Oh, Simon plays rugby, doesn't he?" And so I ended up joining in October 2018. But yeah, no regrets. Absolutely brilliant. Same sort of situation as you, Mullins, there in terms of arriving in. I think I arrived to 1 training session on a Thursday, and then straight into a match on the Saturday, and then the Saturday night was a Halloween party. So I got a really good social setting in there for the first game. You know? So absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Very good. And we'll let you. Obviously, you're both, like you mentioned, Highfield boys. We'll let you chat about that for a wee bit. What was your background at the club?
It's quite funny. So like Simon's his own man. He really was. He was like a scrum half, built like a back row. One of the most aggressive nines I coached or grew up with. So I coached in 20s, and he was just. I remember playing a match. Simon, do you remember this? I played a match with your dad. So your dad must have been.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah. Yeah. His father was quite a famous guy in the club as well. His father was a winger / flanker, and I think that got into Simon's head. Simon was much more skillful, and was a 9 for us, but he had the heart of a back row. We famously 10 years ago, 2010, we won this cup final down in Musgrave Park, which is Munster's second home. And he was man of the match. He was ridiculous that day. We just got a video of it just recently. And heart of a lion, like feisty fucker, always full of opinion, just like his dad. But I suppose as I was kind of in my mid-20s, he was coming through youth and a bit of a reputation, bit of a lip and a lot of heart. And we ended up playing rugby together, which was pretty cool. Pretty cool to coach a guy and play in the same team and just be teammates. And it's actually a lovely photograph of I think that cup final in Mawdsley. You just did this ridiculous piece of skill with a kick through, and I think I grabbed your head and kissed you, just going, I'm going to finally win a medal. So
I thought you were going to beat me to the line. I thought you were going to beat me to the line.
I was beating nobody to the line, even if it was offside.
The winger got there first.
Sweet. He did, yeah. Tom McCarthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Highfield is like a youth academy of rugby in Cork. Produces many internationals, and whether you make it or you play with them, you're all part of it. And I think myself and Simon he was a lot better than me, but yeah, we played in that kind of, you play youth, you play very successfully, you graduate through like the lower levels of adults up until senior level, and we both managed that, which is kind of sweet. Like, and then I definitely told you about Northern, man. I can't believe you're denying it.
Actually, I should have gone straight there, like, instead of holding back. So I'd arrived in July, you know, so I waited until October. That's where the pounds kind of came on. So the lads got me in my prime off-season condition, and it hasn't changed since.
Well done, boys. No, that's excellent. I think I remember way back a training session with Damien, probably in the dark down in Inverleith Park. Yeah. But I'm sure it was you that was holding us back, the forwards, and saying, you know, get the whiskey down, do the extras. And, you know, that probably 19 maybe would have been, was a good eye-opener to, you know, what you can achieve by putting the wee bit extra in, you know. So, boys, what would you say then is Northern's unique selling point?
Oh, man. Gee. Northern's incredible, man. It's like I think the attitude of a senior club, and you apply it to whoever can play. I was listening to Smith, his podcast the other night, and he was talking about how he grew the club, and they played Scottish Division 3 or whatever it was. Like, we never reached that level, but you felt like you felt like you were representing something important. And I think maybe for me, maybe not so much you, Simon, I was never going to hit the highs of senior rugby, but to go over and play for Northern, and it meant a lot playing this Saturday, be it seconds or firsts. It meant a lot going back to the club, and the club was so well set up socially that everybody was welcome, no matter what level you were. And like, I would recommend anybody going to that club, and I mean that, if they're moving to Edinburgh, any friend or person I knew, I would recommend that club, because they treat you, first of all, ultimate respect, and then they show that with what they try to do with you with training. Like, we used to train under the floodlights, Jay, but you felt like it never affected us. We gave it 100%. And we were opinionated, and we pissed each other off, and we scrapped, and we coaches we didn't like, but we, no matter what you had seconds or first on a Saturday, you bonded, and you always had an amazing night in the bunker. And it's incredible, man. It's what a rugby club can be. And I have to say one thing. I took a lot of that. I tried to take a lot of that back to my club and pass that on. And luckily enough, a couple of people were of the same type of mind. And I think I think that type of attitude is prevailing now in across the different rugby clubs in Ireland, whether it be Highfield or Cork or Dolphin and Cork. They're competitive, and they take everybody in. So Northern's an example. Like, you don't have to be pristine schools player to play rugby. You just need to be dedicated to your level. So it's incredible.
Definitely, it's that, as you said, like, it's the open door policy, I think, because obviously, you know, Mullins, say the previous club that we were in, it had a feeder, you know what I mean? It had a youth system where, you know, you had an underage team from under 8s the whole way up, maybe even under 6s. You know, people going the whole way up to 20s, and then you're straight into the 4 senior teams, you know, between 20s, first, seconds, and first. Obviously, in Ireland, we call it J1 and J2. For our J2 team is called the minors. But yeah, we in Northern, I suppose, as you said, like, it's very humbling as well in terms of arriving, like, having to drag out the floodlights on a Tuesday and Thursday night. Like, that's not one thing that I wanted to do when I arrived. I was used to just putting on the boots and arriving on the pitch and doing a warm-up, whereas up there it's a bit different, and I think you work a bit harder for things. You know, you're more directly involved in the day-to-day, actually getting the admin done. I am slightly guilty in terms of getting involved on that side, but you know, I just think of lads last year and the year before. I suppose I'm 2 years now in there, but the level of effort the guys are doing off the pitch as players is just phenomenal. And as you said, the social side is absolutely brilliant. You know, my first night in the club, I was behind the bar, which you know, you would not get that in other clubs. It would turn heads, and people would be like, "What? Who does this fella think he is?" Whereas inside that club, it was literally like, "You're welcome, and you're more than welcome to serve away. Crack on, man." You know what I mean? That's the way it is.
And we're just going to welcome in my co-host here, who's got himself ready. Better late than never.
Mawd.
Just connected in.
Hello.
Hey, Mawd.
Hi, mate.
Sorry about that.
Mawd, do you know Mullins?
I don't think we've met before. No.
Lovely to meet
Nice to meet you. How are you getting on? You all right?
Good, man. You weren't in the clubhouse a couple of years ago, and I fell in there, no?
I probably would have been.
Yeah.
Probably would have been.
Did you nip in for the Munster game? Did you?
No, I was over for the Scotland game a couple of years ago when Scotland robbed Ireland in the Six Nations. And Cahill won. However the fuck he got us in a tuk-tuk back to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
True story. We got a tuk-tuk from Murrayfield back to the club. Man, it was epic. It was awesome as always.
So, boys, Damien, if you can fiddle about in the brain there and remember way back, have you a most memorable victory or game that you played in during your time at Northern?
Oh my God, the first game against Dalkeith was just phenomenal rugby. There was a lot of top players probably coming back playing seconds, and they were just dancing around Dalkeith, and I didn't realise the hatred for that shithole of a village. And a funny story, a couple of years later, after I left Edinburgh in the middle of when the recession hit, and I moved back to Ireland and everything went to shit. And I went back working doors. I was working doors in a place called Plunket, which Simon would know very well. And this rugby team came up one night, and I was looking at the crest going, I fucking know you. Like, where are you from? Dalkeith. And I said, straight away, I'm fucking Edinburgh Northern. And they mouthed off straight away. And I was like, boys, if you want to come in, you want to have a bit of respect for what we are. Like, and we had a proper to and fro, honestly. Proper to and fro about things. And I was like, they were like, oh, you're soft Edinburgh boys. So yeah, but we beat you every time. Like, so I think any victory over Dalkeith was good. I only played a season. I think we did pretty well. We came maybe third in the league, and we had a good cup run. A lot of games stand out on that pitch on a Saturday, but beating Dalkeith was always a good thing.
Yeah, fair enough. And Simon, what about yourself?
Ones is probably the ball final. Obviously, look, it's great to get a bit of silverware. So I remember throwing an intercept in the first half, having an absolute dog shit first half. Worst I probably played for the club, I'd say. And came off at halftime, and then Chris brought me on 10 minutes later in 9 instead. And Spills stayed in 10. And we turned around the match. That's definitely the one that stands out, like, because we had them on the racks the whole time.
Who was that again?
We fluffed a load of tries. Was it Lismore? Liberton? Lismore, sorry. Yeah. That one. So that game was a big one. And then twos has to be. I got the joyous task of playing against Thebans down behind Murrayfield, and great game. We put probably 60 points on them, but when we put 60 on them, we should have put another 24 points, because the kicker that day was absolutely woeful. But I had to use another rugby ball to kick the goals, because there was a river behind the goalpost, so they didn't want me to kick the good ball into the river. So that was definitely a standout moment. I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, as I mentioned earlier, the word humbling, like that was just something else. You know, their coach bringing on a ball for me saying, don't kick this in the river, pal. We don't have too many to play. Like, I might have got 3 out of 12 maybe.
At least your math is right.
Exactly.
Michael?
What about you, Jay? Jay, what's your favourite game with Silver Side?
I think it has to be, we won the league 2012-ish. I remember probably a good few victories that season standing out. But I think winning it then with a good victory at home over Leith, you know, sort of cherry on top, really. And then I think probably another, a Dalkeith game at home, you know, where we probably weren't expected to win the way things were going at the time, but hammered them. And luckily there's video footage of it that we could all enjoy every year when we're reminded of it. Michael, I'll let you take off the pitch.
So just the question to both of you, starting with Damien here. What was your favourite night out or maybe tour when you were at Northern?
Jesus Christ. I never made it. Do you want to hear the worst one?
I think a couple of them would be excellent, since if you're going with the worst one first, then you know, the one will get
worst
better.
one was Madrid. I fell asleep in the jack with my pants down, and I think Spills rescued me out of that situation. We played Madrid that day in the University of Madrid pitches, and for some reason I was standing 12 during the match, slinging balls left and right and hitting no targets. And Gibby, remember Gibby?
I did remember Gibby.
Gibby, we're back to there's this chap from Sligo called Gibby, great number 8. He decided to go back to the home pub or clubhouse of the team. He got their bull into a headlock, and we ended up out that night and absolutely peshed. And I had to be rescued. And many nights I was a good ex-girlfriend of mine, God rest her patience. She used to pick us up from the bunker, and she'd always throw a fella into the boot just to get us up the road to the night. So, and invariably it was never me. I'd never fit in the boot, but it was probably Spills or somebody. Happy days, man. What was that club we used to go to on the hill on the way up into
Garibaldi's.
Garibaldi's. There you go. The beginning and the end of everything. Garibaldi's. Tour nights were fantastic, but Garibaldi's beat everything.
Yeah, I think that's always a very common answer when we've had people on. They always, even Uncle Joe mentioned Garibaldi's in its former incarnation, which I thought was quite impressive. The same question, I suppose, to you, Simon. I don't know if you've been on tour yet. Have you been on? No.
Still a tour virgin, so it's all ahead of me. It's been just bad times. That May weekend is always a catcher for me. Like this year, I was supposed to be going to a buddy's wedding in Skibbereen in Cork. As well, and then the year prior I was in Ibiza with the lads, so I missed both ones. So I'll definitely be on the list for the centenary, I'd say. But I've been a virgin before on the tour, like they're absolutely. Look, we'll crack on. In terms of best night, I think Burn Supper has been brilliant. I probably enjoyed it as a virgin more than last year, or this year, sorry. But it has to be my first night in the club. I think is the one for me, because I didn't really know anybody after playing the game, and as I said, I played the match and I stayed on with Danny Farnworth drinking in the club, and me, Danny Farnworth, Jack Clemenson were drinking, and he just told me some stories, and I suppose I met one of the loosest fella in the club to sit down with, so we rolled into it. I wasn't intending on going to the party, so I ran home, got a dressing gown, and went back into the bunker for the night. But the rest is a blur. But great start. That's how I describe it. So it's very good. That's probably my favourite one that stands out.
Can I jump in? My favourite night in the bunker.
Of course.
Crack on.
There's two actually, right? And how PC is this meant to be?
Go for it.
Absolutely fine.
Okay, names would be a bit absent, right? But I remember it happening, so I could be a bit off on this. But I remember one night we came back we lost the match, and we didn't care. We were back in the clubhouse, and there was nobody in the clubhouse. I think the seconds were playing as well. There was about 20 of us back in the clubhouse. We were playing beer pong, which inevitably led through Tony Doran to nudity. And there was a lot of nudity. There was a lot of it reached all levels. And I remember there was a chairman, and he had twin daughters, I think, and they were quite young. And she managed to bring her friends into the clubhouse around the same time half the rugby club was naked, which was horrific. Do you remember that, Jay?
It sounds like a few Northern nights out, I must admit. Yeah.
3 17, 18-year-olds walk in and half the boys have their cocks tucked in. The second one was, remember Cody Adams, this amazing, he also stayed with me in Cork, amazing American prop we had. And towards the end of when he decided he was moving on, Tony Doran, I'm gonna blame Doran on this, even though I was probably part of it. They just put a new lawn out the front for where the bowls was played. Remember that? And he decided to roll him up in it and leave him in it for about 20 minutes. Yeah? Ring a bell? You were complicit, Jay?
Quite possibly,
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll
edit this.
We'll take it back to the pitch while Simon's. Oh, there he is.
Sorry.
So, if you were to choose then, Damien, a front row of Northerners that you played alongside, maybe choose a hooker and another prop, who was your favourite then?
I have to start with this, do I?
You have to pick Bogey, sure. You said you played with Bogey, did you?
Bogey was the most talented prop I've ever played in my life. And
yeah, that's what I mean. Sure. You've been underage international.
Yeah, but have you met Jeff, the French prop? He was, remember Jeff, Jay?
Do you?
Like absolute legend. So this guy Simon would have when he played, he was phenomenal. He was immovable. And Tony Doran was in the mix. I was in the mix. Cody Adams was in the mix. They were all great props. I was hanging on. Jeff was tight at. Tony or myself would play loose head. Cody could play both sides. Jeff was immovable. But the greatest thing that Jeff did that Bogey's never done is every match that Jeff would play, he'd have his pipe with him and his tobacco, and he'd have this thing with the opposite prop. He'd make sure you brought port, and he'd smoke his pipe, and you brought a bottle of port, and you go out the front and give out shit about the backs, and just have a smoke off his pipe, drop a port, give out about the backs for the day, and just leave it there and park it. It'd never be a problem on Monday. So Jeff tighthead. I'm going to go loose head. I'll go Highfield. I'll say you could play Bogey or 40 there. Phenomenal. Bogey played with Edinburgh Northern, so I'm going to put him in there. He played a half an hour against Dalkeith. And hooker, the gabbiest hooker I've ever played in my life, and I've played a lot of good. Gavin. It was Gavin. Jesus fucking Christ! He couldn't hit the side of a bar from. He couldn't hit the side of a barn from the inside, but my God, he gave it a lift. Phenomenal, every time.
Well done. And Simon, if it could be any position across the inside backs, but who are your favourite Northerners to play alongside?
I will, just from game, probably like 9, the best crack I've had playing rugby was with Barry. Just able to whip a ball. Like I know he says he's passed it every year, but Jesus Christ, he can still pass just as good. Like he could hit you 25 yards out, like he can still hit you. It doesn't matter where you're standing. I suppose when I'm playing 9, probably picking 8 is usually the closest player to me. Probably be a disservice if I didn't say Jamie. It's been a good buddy to mine. I know everyone's probably laughing there. Our Mawdsley in particular is laughing there, but I suppose I'm just giving my buddy a shout out there.
Smiling inwardly.
Yeah, He's been good off the pitch and on the pitch for me, so a good pal there, Jamie.
Who's Jamie?
McCann.
Yeah, I haven't picked any Highfield players, Mullins, like, because
I heard that, you bollocks. I'll say that back in Highfield.
If I was to pick a number 8 from Highfield, it would be Ray Forrest.
Your old man? Get out of it. Get out of it.
I had to just to get onto a story. Like Mullins, I'm sure you were playing in this game. We played a 20s game, right? It might have been our first year 20s. And on the Sunday there was a minor game put in against Douglas up in the high pitch in Montgomery, but they'd no players. So myself, Bobby, and I think it was like Chris O'Donnell and a few others woke up in CIT college accommodation where he was living on the Sunday morning after the Saturday night out. And Ray rang and was like, Simon, we're fucked for players. We need you to play. I know you played yesterday, but we need you to play. And he was doing bagman at the time for the minors, just helping out. So my dad had to play. He had to play himself. So he played in the back row, but the pitch, like you couldn't. I was playing 9, and it was literally eight-man rugby. You couldn't. It was pick and go the whole time. But I had to play. I played 80 minutes with Ray, like in the rain, and it was just the weirdest situation of all time. Because I'm already I'm probably still drunk or very hungover, and he's clearing out a ruck after I take the ball in, like, and it's just like, your dad is cleaning me out. What's going on? Yeah. But he tells a story. There was a mall or something, and I was trying to pull their hooker out of the mall. Yeah. As I always would do. But you're not allowed to do it anymore. But I grabbed him by the collar and pulled him out. And your man was a nutcase. You know, he was like he was an older fella that was seasoned and tough, like. So he went to hit me and I pushed him, but then Ray came in and took a shot for me, like. Yes. So I have to let that down, like. My dad took a punch from me basically and he got it.
Yeah, true story. He still goes on with it. I thought he got a yellow card, no? Or you got a yellow card?
So I can't remember the ins and outs, but it was just very funny that I was like, so not only did I play with Ray, but he also took a punch. So yeah, good stuff.
Keep reminding Ray he never won a Denny Cup.
He never did, no.
Just out of interest, Damien, Simon's known for having a bit of an edge when it comes to training and competitive touch. He won't. Is that something that he had when he was a young man that you've heard of?
Absolutely, he was a ratty. We called him Ratty in Cork. He was a ratty bastard. Always. Give me 1 second there. I have a question coming from a Canadian. Huh? Edinburgh Northern. Yeah, Northern. Edinburgh Northern.
I wasn't actually called Ratty, just to clear that up. That's not like
you weren't called Ratty, but you were an absolutely ratty individual.
I still am.
Oh,
I remember coaching Maideen's, right? So this is right, Simon. We played up in. We start you up in Old Christians. We picked you specifically for 9, just because it was Chucklin's brother was playing. So this Old Christian, we played against this local team, like a Dalkeith, for want of another description. They had nothing going for their lives but rugby. And we had a semi-final against them. And I'm pretty sure, this is the 18s, man. We picked you. Is that right?
Was it for the number 8?
No, we picked you 9 just because we needed a top 9.
No, but I mean for the number 8. That's what I'm saying.
It was for their number 8, yeah. He was like he had a fine pass, fine kick. If you look at this clip, which is available, you'll see his kicking, which was phenomenal. But he was like a back row. He was like, he had all the good of his dad. But he had the skill of no, but he was Simon was solid, man. He was just fucking tough.
I've been on the experiencing end of Simon's edginess. It was the first kind of touch session after Christmas, and myself and Simon as opposing halfbacks ended up in different sides, and both of us can be a bit temperamental when things aren't going our way, so we're gradually getting more and more wound up to the point where I am almost the last play of the game. I'm turning to give a pass, and out of nowhere comes this full-on shoulder charge into the back, full-on hit, straight on the floor, like proper whiplash, kind of looking up to seeing Simon kind of grinning down at me. I'm instantly called. It was very, very impressive. So
that's him.
And,
that's him.
I know, and a game of touch as well. We'll move it on. We normally ask about kind of rugby influences and stuff, but since you're both Irish, we've got a question based on your kind of positions for you of great Irish players. So to yourself first, Damien, would you rather have Taj Furlong or Johnny Hayes?
It's Tig.
Who's the first? Michael. Sorry, is it Michael or Michael? Is it Michael? Is it
Michael?
So what? It's Tig, not Taj.
So, apologies.
It's a Gaelic name. You should have that proper. I'm just being a dick. So it's Tig Furlong or who?
Hayes.
Oh, fuck. Jesus.
It depends on the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. He's had longevity, and he played in the full hit scrum, right?
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Hannon?
I think it totally depends on the game. Like if you're saying a game in the early 2000s, like you didn't need a prop that was mobile to get around the pitch. Hayes did your basics, your bread and butter for you, everything you needed. Like he lifted in the lineup, never tired, never got injured. Incredible for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was thinking about this today. Like the likes of Tony Buckley and Tim Ryan that came behind John Hayes. Yeah. They were 20-minute props. Like so, right now they'd be worth a fortune. John Hayes was longevity. He was like he lived forever. Tig Furlong's he's a fucking baller. Like so.
Yeah, you'd have to pick him anyway, wouldn't you?
You'd have to pick. Yeah.
Oh, 3 gritted teeth from the monster in there.
But he's got. To be fair to Tig Furlong, he's got more Grand Slams in Scotland. So you know.
Fair play. You'll probably go for the same kind of answer, Simon, for this as well. But the next one for your position is Sexton or O'Gara.
It's not even a question, like.
O'Gara.
It's Rog every day of the week, like.
Every day of the week.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
Yeah. You don't even need to ask it, Mods. You should have known, like.
I thought that would be the answer.
Okay.
I'm not even going to justify it.
Michael, Joe Smith's got a great. Is it Joe's got a great story, but he's got a great story about O'Gara. So when I was in the club, 2007, 2008, he tells a story, but he used to pull me to the corner. And he goes, "O'Gara's the moutiest player he's ever had. Like, O'Gara's the moutiest that he's ever had, and he's like the worst to referee and the worst to play with. But he always said like he influences the game. He's like he's mouthy and he's chippy and he's confident and he's this and that and the other. But he's like he'd still have an influence over the game. And like O'Gara was 13 stone. He played the game at that level at 13 stone. It's got to be admired. Like he's like you know.
And very successful for his time as well, obviously.
So we've got a few more listener questions in here for you. So answers from both to start with. This one comes in from @bigger_drinker. Guinness or Murphy's?
Murphy's.
I'm a Guinness man, but look, I know where you're drinking Murphy's, Mullins, so it's probably a Murphy's pub. You know, you couldn't answer Guinness like.
And
you're a one.
I've just realised I picked Tig Furlong and Guinness there in 2 answers. I need to turn around next. Barry's tea is the answer, not Lions, right? If you're asking.
So it's actually Bushmills or Jameson.
Bushmills.
Jameson. I see.
Bushmills.
Okay, fair enough.
Fantastic. We've got a couple of specific questions from your former teammates, or current teammates in Simon's case, sorry. The first one for you, Simon, is from @curious_Harper. I haven't seen this one actually yet. Would you rather watch your parents getting intimate or play at 12 outside me?
I'm taking time to think about this one now. It's a bit of a strange one.
Nangy.
Maud, I'd take the hospital visit any day.
Thanks.
Can I interject there, right? So his dad,
you'd like to see it, Mullins, would
his dad is quite famous in Highfield, and he describes his love making as the Nangi Nangi. And he says that's how Simon is born. So.
I think Simon.
Lads, you might be bothered by this, but just to put a bit of context on it, the old fella is, he's great crack. Like, he's one of the lads.
He's great crack. Yeah.
He's a 52 now. Jesus Christ, he's a 52-year-old in a 25-year-old body. Like, that's basically that's how you describe him. So he's absolutely hilarious. One of the lads, a buddy.
Which Simon leads us on to another question. It comes in from @outgoing_captain. He would love to hear what food and exercise regime keeps you in such good shape. Or should we maybe ask your dad that question instead?
I have no comment there now. I blame the travel with work. That's what I blame. Company credit cards are a big problem. And missing training sessions, but I suppose this whole lockdown has kind of made me think about things a bit more. So I need to put my thought into action soon.
Good.
1st of June.
And one for Mullins here. This comes in from @hobo_jarv.
Jesus Christ, McFarlane.
Which has the better homeless scene, Cork or Stockholm?
For him, it's quite an interesting question. So, and I was thinking of him all week. So Jarv kind of does this I'm poor but I'm not poor thing very well, and he was doing it before anybody. He wouldn't survive a day in Cork. He's not tough enough. Jarv is beautiful, and Jarv is he's poetic. So for him, stay north.
Another one for you, Simon, from centre of Coleraine. How do you feel about being the third best Irish player at Northern behind Jamie McCann and myself?
Oi!
Currently at Northern, sorry. Currently at Northern.
Fair enough.
Look, I'm against... but they're not really Irish, are they? No, I'm only joking.
Good answer.
Yeah, two phenomenal athletes. Jesus Christ, they put the work in that.
Fair
But
play.
I'll write that one down. I've been watching the Jordan documentary. I finished it up last night, and I realised that I'm going to start getting a book now. I'm going to start making my own list. So we'll put him on that now next.
Very good. And across the Damien, this comes in from @CraigWilson. Is it fair to say you talk?
Jesus. Sorry. I heard Craig Wilson. I'm just like, go on.
Is it fair to say you talked a better game off the pitch than you ever delivered on it?
Very, very true, right? Very true. Absolutely. However, he is the last person to claim that. Okay? The man, I've never seen such an open border like Craig Wilson. If a winger fucking runs at him, he shows him to the corner. I have to say, Craigie Wilson was absolutely one of the... you look back at that season, what an absolute gentle person. So much love for that guy. Remember going to a couple of matches with him, and to be fair, he's full of shit, right? But you learn a couple of things. That was a good learning thing for me. I have a lot of respect for him. No, he talks more shit than I do.
Mullins, do you want to tell the lads about how you ended up coaching down in Bandon, or is that off?
Yeah, absolutely. How we got paid.
Yeah, just for reference, lads. When I was saying Mullins was the 20s coach, the coach the head coach with him was the first Irishman to win a Heineken Cup. Mm-hmm. Is that the stat, isn't it? For Roche, I think. Either way, he was on the bench for Bath in 97, I think.
97, yeah.
But Mullins has a great story about going down to Bandon, a junior club in Cork, where he ended up coaching for a year.
I know a story. I feel I was picked on my coaching ability.
Michael, I think there's one.
I think I got lucky for 2 seasons. I was picked on my Wilson Craig Day in my talk, and I was found out very quickly, and I moved on very quickly from it. And I've never coached again, but thank you, Simon. Thank you.
Right, Mullins, I tell you, I'm not making your arse here, but you weren't a bad coach. Like, tell you that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Well done, boys. So we usually just round up by asking what you're most looking forward to when life returns to normal, but I think it's only applicable to Simon at the minute.
Jesus.
I don't like Mullins. Is it different? Like, obviously, it's slightly different, but like you're going into. Isn't there a week in Sweden now, or 2 weeks where you've a savage summer? Isn't there like a summer festival or something like that?
Yeah, you're right. So like in a month's time, it's like summer festival.
Yeah.
It's normal here, man. It's like people naturally. It's weird, man. They're like, you can't greet each other, you can't be near each other. They just do it naturally. I to be honest, I'm kind of missing. I think COVID times I've more contact with my mates back home than ever. Give it a little story. Do you mind?
No, crack on.
So I met my wife in 2012 in Edinburgh, and luckily we're married and we're very happy. And my second date was in, what's the name of that little pub? What's the name of the little cavern that we go to? Jay?
Not Queen's Arms or...
No, it's a small place. A very small place.
Bar, sorry.
Kay's Bar.
Yeah.
Kay's Bar. I met her, took her around Edinburgh the first day, brought her to Kay's Bar the second day, met Jeff, had a photograph with Jeff. A year later, we went back there, went back to Jeff's, met a couple of the old Edinburgh boys. I didn't remember them at that stage, but that's okay. I miss going around and meeting you. I'd love to go back and go to Edinburgh and meet a couple of you and go down the club like I did after the Ireland-Scotland match a couple of years ago, which we had the freedom to do. Miss seeing Hannon up in Highfield, which we have, and we've kind of bumped into each other and probably not appreciated so much time with each other because of the links we have now. I think we've been very lucky in our lifetime that it's been easy. It's been so fucking easy, and now it's been a bit tough. And just appreciate that and appreciate the links we have and the fact that we can do this podcast tonight and listen to a fella who thought he was better than he was talk about Highfield and Edinburgh and share it with a couple of guys who were very fucking good. Like, and I mean, you and Simon. I didn't play with you, Michael, but Jay, you were fucking phenomenal. Simon, you were phenomenal. That's what it's about. Like, appreciate what we had, and hopefully we'll have it again. And hopefully there'll be a Northern Gents tour. We can all meet again, and that's what we're connected with. That we'll never be unconnected. So let's use it and appreciate it in the future. That's my thing.
What about yourself, Si?
I can't top that love buzz. I'm putting 2 thumbs up for that one. Like, that's what I'm going on. Well, I couldn't put any better words. It's brilliant. I love it. Yeah. And I'll join you. Yeah.
I know, and I hope to see you soon, man. Should not be not seeing you soon. Like, it's crazy.
Oh Jesus! How Mutton Lane for a pint there on Christmas Eve.
Into Mutton Lane. Go up to Highfield and have a pint with Emmett. That's go to the bunker. Last time I was in Edinburgh. I showed my wife Sarah the bunker, and she was like, "What is that? It's like a small bunker." Well, she has a Cork accent. She was like, "What's that? It's a small bunker." I was like, "But that is the greatest," and I love Highfield. That's the greatest clubhouse I've ever been in. So keep it going. Remember my bullshit that never die. And what was Spiddle's best friend? His name escapes me now at the moment.
Neil Hartman.
Neil Hartman. You do your job and I'll do my job. Famous quote from him.
Very good, David. Cheers for that. So next time on the Cockerel cast is one of our more experienced current players, a man who I unwittingly followed from school to find my own belonging at Northern. It is Wilson Craig. So please join us for that episode if you've not already heard enough about his schoolboy rugby. But for now, Damien, Simon, it's been a great pleasure connecting your very similar stories from home to Northern. Stay safe and let's catch up before long, whatever side of the continent we find ourselves. Cheers.
Boys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.